There's so many things going on in this country right now, throughout the world, of course. Racial division, political division, but something that really has been lost a lot, certainly from the national news spectrum, it's been kind of swept under the rug a little bit, and that is this global pandemic. It is affecting everybody in one way or another, some more than others, of course, and, it's so sad how many people have lost their lives from this virus. And then we look at the economy, right, and small businesses. What about Las Vegas, which happens to be the entertainment capital of the world? I, for one, I've gone to, a couple shows a week. That could be a concert. It could be a magic show. It could be a comedy show. I love going to shows. What about the performers? Yes, there are some performers out there that are huge names that have boatloads of money. And then there are other performers out there that are doing very well, that are successful, but they haven't been able to really do a live show in a long time. And it's strange. And then there are some that are being very innovative and taking advantage maybe of other new opportunities that maybe they never thought they could do among this pandemic. So one of those performers, his name is Xavier Mortimer, and he's been a magician at the Ballys for quite some time now, a very talented guy. And he's one of those people that has, had some new opportunities to do things even online. And he joins us right now on the line, magician Xavier Mortimer. Xavier, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. So first of all, why don't you explain to people a little bit about where you're from and your accent?
I live in Las Vegas now. I come originally from France, but I've been here for 7 years now.
Wow.
I've been with Cirque du Soleil first. That's what made me come here, and then I opened my own show at Ballys.
That is so cool. That is so awesome. Okay, so you come out here to Vegas. You've been here for a while. As you mentioned, you were a part of Cirque du Soleil, and obviously nobody there is performing either. I mean, what did you make of this, Xavier, when you first heard of this pandemic coming here, sadly, and that you couldn't do any shows for a while? I mean, did you have any idea it would be this long?
No, and I don't think anyone knew. We had the news one day just out of the blue that the show would not open that night. And they said it was for 10 days, and then we learned that Broadway would not reopen until later, and everyone was pushing, and still pushing right now as of today to 2021. So no one knows when the live entertainment is going to reopen, and that's pretty scary for a lot of people who are in this business.
You've been a magician, not just in Vegas, but tell me how long you've been a performer for.
All my life. I've performed all my life. I've learned comedy and music and dance and everything that could put me on stage. So basically, when that happened, when that pandemic happened and closed all the businesses and live entertainment, it was basically my whole life was.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so let me ask you this then: how long has it been in your life since you weren't able to do a live show for, I would imagine, 5-6 months? How long has it been?
Right, it's crazy because I don't know, but I think it's been around 6 months, and I think that's the longest time in my entire life, except, of course, when I was a kid, that I didn't perform a show. Yeah, it's incredible. And not just me, but a lot of people in this situation.
Yes. Yeah. And listen, you're a successful guy. Obviously, you're a member of Cirque du Soleil, and there's how many people can headline on the Strip? That's really cool what you do. But with that being said, let's be honest here, right? I mean, yes, there are huge names that are, gazillionaires, right? Like a David Copperfield, who deserves it. He's a legend in the business, like the Penn and Tellers of the world. Mm-hmm. You're obviously a very talented guy, but I think where I'm going with this is, guys like that, they can take a 6-month vacation, right? They don't want to, but they can. They can go a year without doing a show. Financially, they're going to be okay. But for somebody like you, who isn't able to do a live show, how have you been able to hold up with all that stuff, and how have you been able to, take advantage maybe of other opportunities? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So the first thing is, I think everyone was the same. We've been performing our entire life every night in the casino and going to work every day and entertaining audiences. And the first month was like, okay, good. That's a little vacation for us. But, after a while, you're like, yeah, I need to do something with my life now. I mean, I cannot just sit on my couch and watch TV.
Right.
And I decided to start filming. I mean, I've been doing that a little bit before on TikTok. I've been publishing videos and on social media. And it started to take off, but gently, But during the pandemic, I was like, okay, you know what? Full time. I'm going to work from morning to until I'm going to bed. I'm going to produce video content and work and write ideas and put them together and post them. And that has been an amazing journey. I went from basically a very small amount of following to like more than 5-6 million followers online, which is I've never expected. Billions of views, and I'm keep producing content, and that's my full job now.
Wow, that is incredible. I mean, when this first thing started, did you ever think that you'd be doing what you're doing right now?
No, never. I would never have thought that. I saw the social media movement as something that could be the future.
Yeah.
But now the pandemic and this situation forced me to adapt. And I think that's the most important, when you, nothing is granted,
Right,
you can have a show in Vegas, you can have no show in Vegas, you can have a life, you can have everything can disappear instantly. And the best way to deal with that is just to adapt as fast as you can to the situation.
Yeah, it sounds like you're rolling with the punches and pivoting accordingly, which is very impressive, Xavier. So let me ask you this. When was your last show that you performed live?
March 14th, I think, yeah.
So how have you been considered by the government as far as being unemployed? What kind of assistance have you gotten from the government since your last show, or have you gotten?
I've got we had a little bit of unemployment at the beginning. But I left because I started to produce content for social media, which made me an income. So I left the unemployment, and now my full salary is on social media.
Gotcha.
Advertisement. Yeah. That's the goal. That's to be independent.
So
Right.
so if you didn't, in relation to what you made while you were performing live, if you weren't able to pivot as successfully as you have to the digital, would you have made significantly less money from the government than you were making before?
Yes, of course. I mean, everyone is making less money, and that's really hurting our the live entertainment business, and a lot of people are very upset. To be honest, I don't know what the solution is. I want to go back on stage. I want the shows to reopen, but I'm also aware that there is concern out there, and I will just go with what happens, because I don't want to make the decision for people and jeopardize other people. It's just like, okay, this is what you got, and this is what you have to make your living with. So that's how I took it and try to adapt. And mostly, my goal is just to entertain people during this time. Just to produce videos and,
Sure.
and make them smile, because no one can go out right now.
Sure, absolutely. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Xavier Mortimer, of course, a former Cirque du Soleil member. He's been a headliner at Ballys, and now he's looking at other ways to, for a source of income. So, Xavier, I want to talk to you a little bit about your collaboration with Jason Derulo. So, you made a video with him, and it's a great video pranking workers at Walmart. It got billions of views and has 6 million followers. Can you talk a little bit about this?
That's part of the creative process. I've been putting videos out there that started to be very successful, and people noticed me, and I did collaboration with people, and somehow Jason contacted me on Instagram and said, "Hey, we should do something." I was like, "Wow, that's such an honor for me to produce something with such a big name, And we've been working like 3-4 hours on it, like putting together some videos. They took off like very well. They had millions of views, and it was just a pleasure working with him. His team is very professional. We had a good time doing that. Yeah,
That's so cool. That's awesome.
Yes, and again the goal is to say, okay, we don't have live shows, so let's have fun. Let's show people some talent and some fun things and entertain them, even though no one can go out right now.
That is awesome. I got to check out that video. I actually haven't seen it yet, but it's got so many views. I might be the only person in the world that hasn't watched it, so I got to check that out. So I want to give out the information, Xavier. How do people follow you on social media, follow your shows and online and everything that you do? Can you give that information out to the listening audience?
Yeah, it's Xavier Mortimer, Mortimer, Xavier, like the name Xavier. It's very easy to find, and you'll find my page. Check for the blue check mark, because a lot of people have been trying to make pages with the name that are not the real page.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yep.
that comes with the numbers. People try.
Sure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But anyways, you can find it easily. And if you like magic, if you like comedy, if you like to be entertained, and little videos and fun stuff, we always publish. We always post things that we do and updates, and also we update about the shows and what's going to happen in Las Vegas. I really hope we can open as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think we all do. One more last question for you, Xavier, before we let you go. What advice would you give to other performers out there? They could be a comedian. They could be a magician. They could be anybody, a singer, for anybody, for example. What advice would you give them? They're not able to perform in front of a live audience. What would you tell them? Because you seem to be doing well. What advice would you give to people like that in Vegas or anywhere around the country or the world?
Adaptation is the key word. I think I probably was lucky to stumble on that and have videos that were successful. It was a lot of work, but I didn't give up. I didn't say, "Hey, no, I'm a live performer. I do only live performances." I said, "I'm a performer. I like to entertain. What can I do now? I cannot live perform." There's always a solution. There's always something to do. And I said, "Okay, let's do videos." And videos wasn't my thing. I learned a lot. And I had to adapt, and I had to fail so many times until I had a good video. And that's what I went through, and that's what I think is the best to do, not to give up. And at least when you do something and you keep creative, you're not complaining, or you're not like watching the world and saying, "Oh my God, everything is so bad."
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, I got to ask you this. I lied. One more question. What's the best French restaurant in Vegas? I have to ask you that.
It's funny because I know one. I don't go out in French restaurants.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Well, no, I got to say.
I went to Mon Ami Gabi because it's at the Paris, because I'm at Ballys, and it's right next door, and it's great. I love it, Mon Ami Gabi.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Andres is good. I like Andres.
Tons of them.
Yeah,
they had that one in MGM.
Yeah. There's some good food in Vegas. That's for sure. I love French food. I just want to say that I absolutely love French food. It's awesome, and the food in Vegas is incredible. Well, Xavier, the entertainment's incredible as well. I got to tell you, I hope that we can see you live in person. I look forward to watching your show at Bally's when we hopefully get back to some sense of normalcy. But I really do appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate your advice. I think that means a lot to a lot of our listeners. And thank you so much for coming on, Xavier. We appreciate you. Thank you.
And thanks for having me.
You bet.
Oh, thanks a lot, Xavier.
I love that accent, by the way. Xavier Mortimer. Yep. That is a great name, by the way.